kind of get the entirety of my upper half if I could help it. I'd like to actually get the entirety of my upper half. Including the mouse and keypad setup that I'm using. Anyway, so, yeah, this is a fun class. Monk. Using quarterstaves and kind of just beating people over the head with the stick, so to speak, but it's actually... The worst part about it is that it was actually working. The thumbnail for this was just a joke. It is actually entirely possible to build you could actually build a chipmunk entirely out of chip damage if you wanted to. Chip damage, of course, being DOT. But, yeah. I mean, you know. The thing that I really like about this game is also the thing that I kind of hate about it. It lets you do whatever you want, and I mean whatever you want. It punishes you if you don't do certain things the right way, for sure. But if you're willing to endure the punishment associated with it, you can effectively do anything you want with your character. If you want to build a character that never dies but doesn't do shit for damage, you can totally do that. If you want to spec into that, that is entirely your whatever. You know, maybe what you're doing is you're not building a character to go solo, maybe you're building for a group of friends. Like, you're the one that stays in the back with constant, you know, team buffs or whatever. I've also seen people build Thorns builds that are pretty good. I mean, they're not great, but they're pretty good. I have a warrior that is self-found, which I've kind of found that self-found is really not my favorite way to play the game. Ooh, excuse me. Not that I have a problem playing it. That's not an issue at all. Really. That's interesting to me. Wow. It just means there's a little bit of a streaming delay. Not that I have a problem with self-found, it's just that I feel like loot drops weren't as frequent. And I know for a fact that trying to make a spell blade out of a warrior just probably wasn't the best of my ideas. Okay, this is where you end up fighting the Crowbell. The Crowbell himself should be either that way or this way, so we will check. Here he is. This way. This is important because it's extra passive points.
Another corrupted abomination. Frost! Get back here!
Oh no, you don't get to run away from me, boy. Yes, this is straight up just like normal staff bashing.
creates strange beasts.
So yeah, just like straight up normal staff bashing him to death pretty much. If you wanted to, you could totally just spec into physical damage and damage penetrations and wreck in this game pretty good. I don't want to see anything about no snack wraps unless it's the McDonald's snack wraps making a return. That is the only thing wrap related I want to see notifications of, period. Bar none. That over there. This over there. And that will free up more room for the system control panels. Because they're the thing that I actually need to see. There we go. And yeah, the reason the stream is kind of dog-do right now is because my fiance is actively downloading Path of Exile 2 right now because I wanted her to join me on this at some point. Kind of a litany of reasons. Number one, I think that she'll be able to have a little bit of fun with the characters. Okay, let's see. Interesting. Okay, first off, give me my points. Second off, get rid of these two things. Because the quarterstaff, I have that on there as a joke. Literally just to lulz it up. Okay. So let's see here. The one that I'm using largely is Glacial Cascade. And it's automatically socketed, and it's doing a little bit more damage. The same as Killing Palm without effect. Falling Thunder is actually my strongest attack right now. That's not my, crossbow shot, which is just there as kind of a gag. Or, actually, it's more of a point of reference. I'm not really using the crossbow, although I could. It's not really much point. Kind of waiting for them to drop the daggers, which is kind of like my big question is when are we getting the rest of the weapons and stuff. And I'll be looking into that today. Yeah, I'm going for the attack speed, definitely. And yes, my character has a fart cloud. I got this really awesome jacket that makes a fart cloud. Unfortunately, it's not the one that you can detonate, but it increases your evasion rating and my dexterity. Not too big on the decreasing of the light radius, though. That's kind of a meh, but if I'm being honest, that's probably about the least thing that I'm worried about. Okay, I need to... Yeah, we'll grab these. Why not? What other skills? Killing Palm. I had to think for a second. I forgot what button did what. Staggering Palm. Tempest Bell is already gotten. Vaulting Impact. What do you do?
Vaulting Impact is an effective tool for closing in on enemies and stunning them. If enemies are dazed, then it stuns them even more effectively.
And Frozen
locusts will explode when attacked by you or your enemies. Placing
that might be handy. Okay, so killing Palm is physical damage. That's just a funny thing to do sometimes. Okay. Well, the other thing I gotta do is consider the buttons on my mouse right now, which, yes, I'm playing with keyboard and mouse. I also am very well aware of Game 8 seems to be where I'm getting a lot of my good information from. There is no it's just saying to be disclosed. Okay, so Twitter, we're going to go to the official Path of Exile 2 stuff for just a moment. Dog's gonna go nuts briefly, by the way. I think it would probably be under grinding gears. Yeah, it's probably going to take them a little bit because what they're probably doing is rolling it out in stages. So, like, we pay $30 a head for early access, right? They probably won't turn it into a free game until they have everything rolled out, and they're probably working the bugs and the kinks out of everything as they roll it out. So it could be later this year that we get everything unlocked. I hope not. I'm hoping it happens around like January, February at the latest, because like I want my swords, man. I want to see them skills. I want to see what they throw in here. I mean, I'd like to see the swords drop on Christmas because I'm a big sword nut. Swords and daggers, man. Swords and daggers. Also, weirdly enough, I'd like to see a smaller hand crossbow that you can dual wield, but I don't think they'll do that. Mostly because that was a Diablo thing, and I don't know if they might. They might. Go back to town. Oh yeah. You want viewers on your stream, right? You kind of got to share the stuff around. Probably a pretty decent amount of people come from my Twitter. More so than my Facebook, but my Facebook's going to get treatment too. Shout out to my dad, who I would like to have be one of my subscribers, but I don't think he's ever going to do that. But, oh wow, he didn't actually bark at all. Oh wait, it's Monday, isn't it? Alright, let me mute my mic for...
Why look? Take a pun. You know you want to. Go make a legend or two.
What have you learned? It is good to see you. Be careful.
By decree of the Count of Ogham, to the scoundrels and cowards hiding among the trees of the clanless Perch. As the loyal men of Ogham lay down their lives to protect those who support them, you hide. As the women of Ogham sweat and ache, skinning beasts upon which we feed, you hide. As the children of Ogham play at war, preparing to serve the greater needs of the people, you traitors hide. I will offer clemency only once. Return to the manor immediately and serve Ogham, as is your duty, and your punishment will be deferred.
The dog's about to freak out, but I do have something to say about the notice that's listed up there, the notice of amnesty. I have a thing or two to say about that. So, this is a notice of amnesty.
By decree of the Count of Ogham, to the scoundrels and cowards hiding among the trees of the clanless Perch. As the loyal men of Ogham lay down their lives to protect those who support them, you hide.
See, this notice
As the
is an
women of
attempt
Ogham
to
sweat and
subjugate the
ache,
clanless,
skinning beasts upon
the
which
people of
we
the
feed.
clanless Perch.
You hide.
Number
As the
one, I don't
children
agree with
of
that in
Ogham
general.
play
I
at
think
war,
that they should be
preparing to serve the greater
independent,
needs
but I
of
also
the
think that
people.
they should have to
You
defend themselves.
traitors hide.
Right.
I will offer clemency only once.
Which, by the way, with the amount
Return
of
to the manor
witchcraft and stuff
immediately
and other
serve
magical
Ogham,
abilities that they
as
have
is your
access
duty,
to,
and your punishment will be deferred.
I would argue that they probably could defend themselves quite easily. Here is my problem with the notice. The notice comes off as him trying to guilt or shame them into
surreal
wanting to be subjugated by them for, you know, something that, by the way, I don't even think that you should be able to do. Now, here's the problem with kings and why I don't like the idea of a monarchy. In a monarchy, you're told you have to do things, right? You don't have a choice. And to a degree, a lesser degree, it's true in America too, because we don't have a king, we have a president and elected officials. The problem with that is that they can, at random basically, decide to go to war with someone for whatever reason they see fit. Now, after 2001, and we all know what happened back in 2001, 9/11, it was pretty much universal outcry by a lot of people saying, you know, we need to wipe certain places in the Middle East more or less off the map entirely, right? Which, by the way, before we get too far into this, I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me in a lot of trouble with a lot of people. I don't really care what happens overseas. If they want to blow each other up, that's their problem. It has no bearing on me whatsoever. If we want to wipe them off of the map, I wish I could say that as a Christian I really cared. Because they've been so much of a headache to us, removing the distraction for our politicians so they can focus on what needs to be focused on at home. Yeah. If you can't focus on what's important, removing the distraction becomes a viable option for a lot of people. Simply put, if you have kids or other people that you have to care for, and you are dumping money in video games instead of feeding your kids and your family,
Believe it. Please.
don't be too surprised when that family rises up against you in some way, shape, or form and either removes you from the equation or the distraction. It can happen.
Good night.
Simply put, politically speaking, a lot of us are tired of war. We're tired of these endless shenanigans that you want to get into overseas that do not affect us here at home, or we don't see how it affects us here at home. If you actually sat down, and yes, I'm going to get really political on this one, if you politicians actually got your head out of your ass and did your job and explained why these places are important to us at home, maybe people would be more supportive. But right now, they look like a bunch of boondoggles where you're just wasting our time and resources on crap that doesn't matter to us. It is, in fact, a messaging problem, 100%. You are piss poor at your jobs because if you were an effective politician in the American political process, you would be able to inform people that they are that you are spending their tax money on something that they see is worthwhile. Instead, you're too busy playing party lines. And it's stupid. And you know what? I want to say something else too. I hope your inability to message people the right way, message to people these important things the correct way, I hope it costs you your job.
I carry few possessions, but I don't know that.
100%. I hope it gets you unelected.
Need more mana.
And at the end of the day, I'm going to say something that's going to get me in trouble politically. I don't give a rip if Ukraine was the breadbasket for Europe. Europe is not America. It is not where I live. It is not my problem. Allies or not, they need to be able to take care of their own shit. Instead of making it our friggin' problem every time I turn around. I'll use a Borderlands 2 analogy. I can't take out Cromarax. Actually, that's Borderlands 1, but the principle still holds. I can't take out Cromarax if my level friggin' 60 or 70 ally is going down every 2 seconds because he refuses to get a new fucking shield. He's had plenty of opportunities to do that, but it's refused to. Fuck that. I'm probably just going to remove him from my game entirely and go kill the friggin' thing myself. I'm not going to sit there and resurrect an ally who's using level 5 shield because he likes how the explosion looks whenever the Nova triggers off, or whatever. And he's too stupid to see that the stats on it are so low it's getting him killed. If they're not willing to put the time and effort into fixing their own country, why the fuck should we? If you want us to fix your country, okay, fine. Congratulations, you just became the next state in the United States. Otherwise, fuck off. That goes for Ukraine, that goes for Israel, that goes for the Middle East. Unless we intend to make them states in our United States coalition, then they can fuck right off. They are not important to us, and they should be treated as such. Especially in first world countries where they're refusing to put their bodies to defending their own freaking shit. Poland is doing a very good job. They said no, and they fucking meant it. They were pressed, and they said, fuck you. Come to our borders illegally and die. Do I think that the death sentence is necessarily the right way to go? You know what? Here's what I think about that. They have the right to defend their sovereign borders however they see fit. And it does not matter what your fucking opinion of it is. It does not matter how many bodies they stack up. That is their fucking border and their fucking business. If you don't fucking like it, go start your own fucking country. Rip open your own borders as much as you want in your own fucking country. Start your own. Until then, shut the fuck up. How about that? How about that? I just said the quiet part out loud. The part that no one wants to say. If you don't like what a different nation is doing, no one gives a fuck. That's your opinion. It doesn't fucking matter.
These men
don't know all the other...
what they exalt.
I mean, I definitely do enough damage to be able to take him out. And he does enough damage to take me out, too. He took me out for dinner, and I got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich while he was eating steak. I think we're going to spec into intelligence a little bit, but not much. That's just for gem usage. I don't think I'm going to be doing too many of them. Also, it gets me a point closer to that gem slot, which actually this would be the only character that I've gotten out to that outer ring. Magnus, knock it off, dude. You're going nuts over there for nothing. Gotta do something about that mana regen. He's gonna mutate, refilling his health. I staggered him and every single one of my attacks totally missed the mark. I mean, it really didn't matter, but...
I must maintain a fine balance.
Really. Deal with that. Actually, we'll look at that right now. One hit, consume a ghost shroud to recover energy shield equivalent to 5 8% of your evasion. That's not terrible. But I would almost prefer the ice armor. And the reason for that is, and I really wish that this was more accessible to other characters.
I carry few possessions, and I don't have room for that.
Well, like this, just a hunk of useless garbage. Probably the only thing here that's worth anything. I mean, really.
I carry few possessions, and I don't have room for that.
Yeah, and the reason that you don't have room for it is because this game is piss poor at organizing shit. Well, definitely gonna level for that. Duh, Glacial Cascade is kind of my big ice attack at this point. Okay. And the other good thing about this is that when the daggers do come out, it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't matter either way, but... You know what? Doink. And that will at least give me some protection from, you know. It'll at least give me a little bit of protection from having my butt handed to me as bad by freezing and disabling opponents every once in a while when I get hit. Which...
So the cultists... Thank you, Hero.
Now, this part, I have a ton of these, and I actually have one equipped as well. But... I think we're gonna see... I like that. Okay. Huh. I can't use that because of its level. Talk to the hooded one. Identify items. And we'll start this.
Sorry, I was just...
Huh.
It seems shadows haunt us both. Sorry, I was just...
If I run into something I can use, then fine, but...
What have we got? Anything take your fancy?
You know what? I have nothing socketed, so
Stick to the
whatever.
cairns.
At this point, I'm kind of pretty early for sockets anyway. Okay, so let's check the map. Still have to do the ritual altar in the hunting grounds, but that one really just offers up loot. So, you know, if I turn the volume down enough on the television. I think I'll probably listen to some Family Guy while I'm doing this. Let's see, I was at season 9 last night. It's on to season 10. We'll go with episode 1, which is Lottery Fever. Make sure we have the damn volume now low enough to where no one can hear it over anything else. It would seem that the microphone is not even picking that up, which is good. That's what I wanted. Because I just wanted to listen to Family Guy myself.
This bodes ill. I should ask an Ezomite about this altar.
Need more mana.
Wow, this is ominous. So, I was right to be worried. They're still making these damned altars, and this one's bigger. Something's wrong, hero, please.
guts. Yeah, I made this really awesome steak and cheese dip last night, and tasted amazing. Had all the right veggies in it. As it turns out, I love cheese, but my body doesn't. That's not gonna stop me from eating chips and cheese dip every once in a while. And I do mean every once in a while, meaning that this is like the first time I've had that particular combination in like 3 months. So by no means is this a regular thing that I eat. Okay, I kind of hate this episode a little bit. It exemplifies everything that's wrong with our educational system, actually. If we taught people how to be responsible with their money, how to do a proper budget, and how to do their own taxes, I guarantee you, a lot of the economic issues that are presenting themselves in our economy right now, a lot of the budgeting and financial problems that this country is having would not exist. If you taught people how to do a proper budget, we would not have a multi-trillion-dollar deficit. It'd probably be a couple billion. And sure, our federal government would be quote-unquote smaller. But it'd probably also be more efficient, which is what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are angling for. And I'm okay with it. We don't need the biggest budget for sexing ducks. Or researching the promiscuity of black flies when they're under the influence of cocaine. Okay, just gonna say it. Anyone who wants to invest in cucumber enlargement, so to speak, you know what I mean, you're probably investing in a pyramid scheme. Not gonna lie. You probably don't want to invest too much money into that. In fact, you probably want to go the other way. Oh, this is kind of getting a little stupid, isn't it? I don't really want to watch that. In fact, I don't want to listen to it either. Okay. That's a meta skill thing. Okay. No, that'll come into play later, I guess. So. If I get to that point, I don't know. There's a problem that I have in this game, and that is the spirit thing. I do have to get over here, though. Power charge. Hit bonus. Yeah, I need to... Actually, what I should do is bounce 1 or 2 points off in here to remove some of the mana cost and also increase the regenerate to make my skills just a little bit more usable. Yep. Oh, yes. Ooh, hello. Hang on. That is attack speed and cost of skills. Okay, so these two sets of nodes are of interest a little bit. This branch here is of interest because of shields, which... we'll see. Oh, excuse me. Critical hits wouldn't be bad. I'd be banking more towards the critical hit chance, but that's what that whole branch is, so... Probably not going to spec into spells too much. I mean, if we're talking about doing a Ice and Lightning Monk, we're probably going to be looking at... yeah, a bigger investment over here. For your damage, I think. And those two are probably going to be... if you're looking to just straight up raw damage it without any build up, these two nodes are going to be your bigger targets for the lightning part. For the ice, you're looking at that, sure. But you're also going to have to spec up towards, let's see, most likely critical hits, but also up here. And the fastest way to do that is to go up to this gem slot and just straight line it. And I mean, there are other decent things that you can use out here. Shields, if you get some trap damage set up. You know, if you have traps to begin with. You have a little bit more lightning bonuses out here past the cold. And it can circle back into, you know, into some okay skills. Like increasing your evasion rating and your maximum energy shields, your shield costs. So yes, effectively you can encircle this whole tree basically pretty effectively. So actually, I really wish a lot of these skills were accessible to the sorceress, because, oh boy. If they were, just straight up branch off to the monk area. But, and I mean, there again, you also have stuff down here in the monk tree as well. Like, you have some pretty interesting specifications that you can look at. Without, dipping down into the ranger too much. Because once you get down here, you start talking about projectile damages, which, I mean, yeah. But if we're just going to start talking about straight up damage, you need to spec into attack damage as much as possible. Just to, so like, what is that, 6 points to get down to that tree and fill it? That's 6 levels. Just for raw damage. And you can also spec into a little bit of, on-kill life recovery. That's like 9 life per kill. And if you're actually killing things quick enough, then yeah. Also, it means that you can spec, instead of specking straight down and wasting the point, you can spec down and spec into some more life on kill, and then spec into some mana leech, making it so you can continuously use your attacks more. So this is, if you're not doing anything with projectiles as a monk, this is basically useless except for the movement speed, which I would argue that the movement speed is probably just as important as anything else, but there again, as the monk, damage and defense is king. Speccing into stuff like movement speed only makes sense to a certain degree. So, let's see. Oh. Actually, that would be useful if you're relying on flasks a lot, which, kind of. But I'm probably going to bounce off to this tree before I do anything else. Getting these makes sense in endgame. Getting them now doesn't make much sense. But shoving a jewel in that jewel socket makes sense, so considering the jewel that I have access to right now. Meh. wouldn't hurt either. Huh. Anyone want to play with a bone wand? That's a dead end. Oh, what crap. I think I see what's going on here. The map. You know what? That's cleared enough. I think I know what happened here. Hang on. Yep. Well, on the last 2 or 3 characters I've had, the exit for this map was always down in that corner. The exit to the cornfield on this particular map are not in that same direction. Just kind of gonna peek up here and see if there's any boxes that I can open. I'm not gonna bother screwing with the rest of those. You guys don't want to sit around and watch me, you know, farm the farm, so to speak. And there's the exit. And this is either gonna dead end. I mean, it's gonna dead end either way, but. Oh, I'll gladly take that ring. In fact, what's my inventory looking like? Quite interesting, actually. Okay. Yep. And that's another reason to keep that one around. It increases your arc capabilities. The problem with that is it also increases the amount of mana or spirit reservation that your character uses, which is why I'd like to have a dagger handy instead of a quarterstaff, and I'd like it if this would be capable of the dagger too. Oh, let's see. Well. Well, we will slap this into our inventory for now. And I have every intention on waiting to see if we can do something about it later. No. Meh. That being said, I'm not even sure that there is a passive skill tree node anywhere in this game. Learn to spell, stupid. No. No, there is not. At all. Like, even if you tried to cross-spec. The only thing you could do is... stun threshold, melee, life regen, spell skills, mana, blah, 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 blah. No. Flails. Life regen, which I already know about that. Yeah, see, here's the problem. Unless... Let's go to the village entrance, find the waypoint. I'm going to go back to the base for a minute. I have something in my box that I want to read. I want to see what the jewels are capable of, because if I can add a jewel to my scoreboard, my passive skill board, that can increase my spirit enough to use both of those things.
What is this madness?
Yeah, what is this madness? I get it. You're not really too thrilled. And that's another thing. We're going to do a thing. Gems, passives. There is nothing on this skill tree that has to do with spirits, but Jules just pointed out. It's okay. Hoping that we have a list of jewels. paths, which, yeah. That actually might be right. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. Sucks to suck, I guess.
With kill.
Okay. Yo. Suddenly, that looks pretty good. And that actually nerfs the shit out of that. Let's just keep it there. Killing Palm does not use any elemental damage, so what happens if you spec the crap out of it? Not much. And that inflation cascade makes no sense. That is a... Whoa. Question. Do I have any more skill gems? Skill gems, yes. Support gems, no. Why not? Oh, that kind of burns my biscuit. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I was looking up the wrong thing like a dummy. That's great. That's just lovely. And I'm not even sure that it worked the way that I intended. Okay. I can get it on here. And more gear than just a scepter. Okay. Alright. So I basically, in order to use that, my best bet is to, one, hit a piece of gear or an amulet or something that has what I need. More just an amulet. I don't need much. I only need like 10 spirits, so as long as I can roll into it somewhere. I mean, anything I get above that is just gravy. I wonder if it can appear. Does it have the chance to appear on gems? Or jewels, I mean. No, I'm not regretting voting for Trump because Trump's not president yet. He hasn't had the chance. I mean, officially speaking, he hasn't really had the chance to do anything. What is there to regret? Unofficially speaking, there's a whole lot of people who are getting in line. Fudge. Okay, well, instead of obsessing over passives, let's just move on. Yeah, don't. We're just gonna scoot on and screw off with the whole thing. Realistically speaking, basic build principles need to apply in the early game, sure. But I feel like stuff like skill gems and all that need to kind of wait a little bit. And by that I mean certain passives and whatnot that are spirit-based. You're not going to be able to fully, unless you're playing as a character that's spec'd into having a scepter, or has the gear on hand to handle, you know, the spirit costs of things.
Vanquished.
Boy, that was dumb.
Stay still.
You know what? Just to make it easier to see the three core skills that I'm going to be using. This will be my distance. This is going to be my thing. This will be for adding in, you know... I don't think this marks... Oh, this is for power charging and culling. Tickled. Excuse me. Normally, speaking, every time I've been on this map so far, bad guy I'm looking for is up here.
They've all gone mad! Don't do this. Stop. Just wait. Surely we can...
Path of peace is littered with death.
On top of possibly being mentally corrupted, I'm pretty sure he's an
Ogham
executioner.
deserves one last execution.
Guillotine.
that's how that works. Good to know. Welcome to the fart cloud, lady.
He killed a clear.
Oh, I can close that out actually. Do me any good to have it open.
Madness echoes here.
There it is. Let's just go back to town.
The village has been... We must... do whatever it takes.
Owner's house. You've caught me. Feeling lucky?
Oh, really? Let's see.
Sure, I'll take it off your hands.
No.
Sure, I'll take it off your hands. Later.
For what it's worth, it isn't worth. There is only one thing for certain. Count Gianor must enter the manor. Thank you.
Hello. It seems shadows haunt us both.
What have we got? Here's what I got. I'll find some use for that.
Frigate. Goodbye. Let's think for a minute. Huh. Well, that's an interesting little fact, isn't it?